Rays swept DC and Seattle. 6 straight wins, but the odds have barely moved.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked On Rays podcast. Locked On Rays is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, and we are Kevin and Ulises.
And we are lifelong Rays fans who've been podcasting about the Tampa Bay Rays since 2019.
Later on today's show, we'll tackle next season's schedule release, which includes a coast-to-coast travel grind before a playoff-level gauntlet in September 2026. In a bit, we'll look ahead to April 2026 and why the Rays can't afford a cold start in cold weather. But first, the Rays presently are doing everything they can to remain in playoff contention.
And we're going to talk about all of that thanks to 5 Hour Energy. Enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for 2 to any golf tournament in the USA. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters tournament. Ends October 31st, 2025. The Rays, Kevin, have won 6 in a row. People are going nuts. People are going crazy. People like it. We love it. We dig it. But
yes,
let's ground ourselves because the hill that we need to climb is incredibly steep. And although the winning streak is great, the odds are very much against the Rays.
Yes. So over the last couple of weeks, we've joked and bantered about the playoff odds being around 2%, give or take. And since this 6-game winning streak and the Rays winning 8 of 10 and just everything's going well right now for the good guys, the playoff odds have only creeped up a couple percentage points. Now, I'm sure they'll be updated on different websites, but as of this recording, 4.7% is what the odds are, because even despite this 6-game winning streak and the Rays being above 500, 70 and 69, who would have thought we would see that a couple weeks ago? There's still a lot of work to do, still an uphill battle with this team, because not only do you have to leapfrog Kansas City and Texas and stay above Cleveland. I mean, those teams, if we're being honest, they're gonna be around that area. The Rays are going to have to compete with them. You still have to find a way to weasel into that third wildcard spot, because you're not catching the Yankees, you're not catching the Red Sox. It's the spot presently held by Seattle that you have to try to unseat. And you keep winning games, that's great, but you got to hope Seattle and some of these other teams keep losing games as well. But the Rays, give them credit. We put them on notice. Hey, you're in sweep season. You want to give yourself a shot? Sweep the Nationals. Okay, you want to give yourself a little bit more of a shot? Win 2 out of 3, but more likely sweep the Mariners. And they're doing all that. And on this ride right now, who knows? Maybe they continue to earn another sweep or two, win some more series, and we'll reassess this team, next week and see how they're doing. But at the end of the day, I think you and I agree, and most of Rays Nation agrees, this team is giving us fun, exciting, meaningful baseball in September.
The only thing that you want as a baseball fan, unless you're a Yankee fan and you live in another reality, as a baseball fan, what you want, what you hope, is to play meaningful September games. Like, give me a season where in September we still have a shot. They are doing their job. They're doing right by the fandom because they're giving us September meaningful games. That's number one. We did give a path. We did give a path on what needed to happen in order for us to be buying back in. We haven't bought back in, folks. All right. So if you think we bought back in, we haven't yet, because we gave a path. And let's remind folks what the path was. The first step, you got to sweep the Nats. Boom. Done. The second step was get to 500. Boom. Done. The next step was you got to sweep the Mariners. Boom. Done. Okay. But the next step, the last step before we buy in, you got to beat 3 out of 4 against Cleveland. Like there is,
Yeah.
and I know it seems like, oh, well, how 3 out of 4? We can just, you cannot. It's too little, too late. Like now the hole you created for yourself is too deep that now you have to do miraculous things. Now you do have to basically just sweep yourself into contention. I will say, if you win 3 out of 4 against Cleveland at home, now you've basically done what you needed to do against the team holding that third wildcard spot in the Mariners. Sweep them, great. And now you've distanced yourself from the Guardians just a tad, not enough, but just a tad, so that now you can kind of zero in ahead. But the issue is you still got the Royals, you still got the Rangers, and you still got the Mariners ahead of you.
Yeah.
So again, it looks good and we like it. But guys, let's remind ourselves, it's not just one team that you got to beat. It's now 3 teams and one that's smelling you right behind you.
Yeah, in that Cleveland series, like you said, it is of utmost importance, and you hope that the confidence permeates to that series for the Rays' benefit. You know, Cleveland, while having a very similar record as Tampa Bay, they have not been so hot as of late. In fact, during their entire year, they have one of the worst run differentials from a team that's hovering around 500. And I think a lot of that has to do with their lowly offense. So you hope that the Rays, with what they're doing offensively and what they're doing with some pitching resurgences, thanks Shane Baz, and the youth coming together and making an impact, whether it's Hunter Fiducia or Chandler Simpson or Tristan Gray even, and then Junior Caminero becoming a 40-100 guy. I mean, and look, we just asked this, hey, play the young kids and see what happens. And that's what they're doing. But not only are they doing that, they're winning games now. So at the very least, it's kind of a good signal, I would think, for 2026. Of course, this season isn't over yet, but we need to just enjoy the ride. It's not football season yet. It's not NFL season yet. So we can still keep watching Rays baseball if they continue to win like they are. And that's what they've been able to do.
Just be an entertaining club. Give us September meaningful games. You're doing that right now. So obviously this is good things for the fandom. Look, you win 3 out of 4. Everybody should be right back on there's
the bandwagon. It's the bandwagon. We've been off the bandwagon for about, I don't know, 3 months. Pretty much the entire when Shane McClanahan, it was Shane McClanahan wouldn't be pitching this season. We jumped off the bandwagon.
I think I jumped a little bit late. Like I think maybe a week after the trade deadline. And I was like, look, I told you, I was like, yeah, dude, I'm with you now. But they win 3 out of 4 against Cleveland, and now you can start seeing a path. But again, that path is going to be incredibly difficult. But hey, the young kids are playing. They're doing well. Junior's becoming a 40 homer guy at 22 bleeping years old, 100 RBIs. Yes, give me some of that. And extend this man in the off season. Okay?
Use that money that you're not giving to Ha-Seong Kim next year to work something out with Junior.
Use that money that you've been getting from the $15 beers and use it for Junior. Okay, but we go from slim chances to the playoffs to 100% certainty that the Rays will be cold next March. It's that time, people. You got to fuel up and turn it up with 5-hour energy transfusion. Grape, ginger, lime flavored shot brings the iconic taste of a golf course. That's basically every night. That's what Kevin dreams about, that taste of that golf course. Yes, he does. And whether you're out on the course or just need a little extra push for yourself to get through watching race baseball, well, guess what? 5-hour energy transfusion delivers the clubhouse flavor that you love. So today, you have got to try this. So you can amp up the fun even more. Just buy, snap, and enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for 2 to any golf tournament in the U.S. Tee up that trip. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters tournament. It ends October 31st, 2025. Again, visit 5hewin.com. Thank you so much for listening and watching Locked On Rays, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Kevin and the Rays have to go 500. That should be the goal in April because it's going to be cold, baby. It's going to be cold, baby. It's going to be so cold. And I tell you how cold it is because it's March. It's bleeping 27th of March of 2026, and they're going to be playing in St. Louis. Yeah. And then they're going to go to Milwaukee. And then they're going to go to Minnesota. I mean, cold, cold, cold. Where the hand warmers at? You know, like, I'm serious. This is going to be incredibly tough for a team that, number one, is coming from hot, sunny Florida in March and February. Yes. And plus, they never really have to do this. And when they have to do this, it's like once a year. So you have picture Willie Adames with the earmuffs. That's the type of stuff.
And the whole face mask, and you're rubbing Vaseline all over your body, and have
it's gonna be nuts.
Hot hands in your shoes. Yeah.
You gotta hope in that weather. You just have to hope you go 500, Kev.
Yeah, and the Rays. I mean, not that the Rays are, the only team like this, but they have a large contingent of Latin American ball players who do not like the cold weather. So that also is
used to it.
I think whoever designed this schedule was a Yankees fan, or a Red Sox fan, or a Toronto fan, or a Baltimore fan. Just not a fan of the Rays. And we get it. We understand that, the Rays can't necessarily open or start the season at the Trop every year, particularly in 2026, because who knows how the repairs are going and when the finishing touches will be made, which brings in a little bit of a larger problem too for that first month, because we have to remember that the Rays, of course, have not been in the Trop in 2025. They also have a lot of young new players who don't have the Trop experience, and it's an experience, as we've learned over the last 28, 30 years, give or take. So that home field advantage may not truly rear its head until later on in the season, as some of these guys are getting familiar to the confines of all the mess that is Tropicana Field. Then you get into the cold weather in March and April. And
Kevin, you usually have that I think it's usually the last game of spring training. Then they play at the Trop. Right. They have that. And then and then they have the 2-3 days where they can, play and warm up at the Trop, and then let's get ready for the season. That's not going to happen, right? Like, first, they're not going to play that last game at the Trop. And if the Trop needs that time to get restored or renovated, however you want to say, is it going to be player friendly while those renovations are happening? Probably not, right? Mm-hmm. So then you have a Chandler Simpson who, we hope that he's going to be a great outfielder one day, but right now he is making strides to be an average defender. Tropicana Roof is going to be playing on you. So we got to remember that. Jake Mangum, a great defender out there, hasn't played at the Trop. So you got 2 out of 3 who should be your starting outfielders there that haven't played there, and they haven't played in the turf. And then you have, I think Carson should be fine. It's going to be a little bit tough in that dirt, but they're still infield flies. Like, that home field advantage is going to take a little bit more time to develop, which is why it's primordial, nay, incredibly important that the Rays at least go 500 in April.
No, and that's the difficult part. And I don't know if I should say a tall ask, but it's an ask that you're going to make, because, while the games may not be as important in August or September, they still all count the same. And you want to get off to a good start, especially if you're a younger base club and you don't want to get into the doldrums and deal with some issues of, well, everybody's struggling and how are we going to get out of this? You like to start out even keel. And really this schedule, I will note the Brewers, of course, playing a dome, but Seattle, you're going to be outdoors. Minnesota, you're going to be outdoors. And then mid-April, you have the White Sox outdoors, Pittsburgh outdoors, Cleveland outdoors. And even if you want to get cutesy about it, leading into early May, you're going to be outdoors at Fenway Park. That's pretty difficult to deal with. So, and as far as playing in cold weather, the bats, it's probably going to take a while for that to heat up. Plus, there's the injury risk. Not only the injury risk of being at the Trop, but you have a lot of guys on the roster that are athletes, like to run, like to make insane plays and give all-out effort. I feel like the cold weather can kind of exacerbate some injuries and some pulls and some little nicks and bruises, if you will.
Some soft tissue injuries could definitely happen because, baseball is not like it's a burst of speed that you need sometimes. So in that type of weather, it's not the greatest of combinations.
Josh Lowe goes down with an oblique injury in April. Calling it right now.
Come on. Get out of that. So I'm honestly just worried about Chandler Simpson, to be quite frank, because with that speed, I know he wants to use it all the time, but in that weather, I would get worried. And,
and again, if the bats aren't hot, if the homers aren't flying out like you want them to, you have to manufacture runs. And how do you got to steal bases and take a chance on the ball in play.
You got to move. You got to be in contact. And the thing is, though, I think it was 3-4 years ago. I don't know. Time is getting biased because now we're getting old, Bubba. So I don't know if it was 3 or 6 years ago. But I remember opening day, Miggy going deep, Oppo, and it was like a snow, like a blizzard. I remember, I don't know if you remember that, but like it happened a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That could easily happen, right? Like that type of weather can happen. And with the way the schedule works, St. Louis, are you going back to St. Louis? Nah, you ain't. So you kind of have to play those games.
Mm-hmm.
You have to, when you're doing these interleague games, Milwaukee, you're not going back to Milwaukee. You got to play those games. So April, the goal. Can we be 500? Can we be 500? That should be the goal next year for April.
Meanwhile, from the icy start to a late season gauntlet that we'll get to, the Rays will be facing their toughest test when it matters most. All right, listeners, we have an important request for you all. Locked On wants to hear from you. We've put together a survey to learn more about our listeners and make your favorite podcast even better. This is your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't, and answer questions about our advertising. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey to get started. Everyone who completes a survey will be entered for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. Again, that's lockedonpodcast.com/survey. You can also find the link in the show notes. Thanks for helping out.
There's nothing like catching a baseball game live. The energy, the crowd, the chance to see your team in person. And now there are only 2 homestands left for the Rays in 2025, and you've got to go see your Rays, and you got to use Game Time. Why? Well, because it's actually fun to get tickets using Game Time. You know why? Because there's no surprise fees. That's my favorite part about Game Time. You don't just get stuck with all these fees at the end of the line that you didn't think that you would get, okay? It's the price you see. That's the price that you pay. So take advantage and download the Game Time app today, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today.
Thank you for listening to the Locked On Rays podcast and making us your first listen every day. We appreciate it. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Ulises, adversity won't just strike the Rays in March and April. pretty much the entire season, as we know, with 162. But August and September are also very challenging if you look at the 2026 schedule. So it's basically bookended by difficulty, because in August, they will have a road trip that traverses from Colorado to Seattle to, I'm not going to say it, Oakland, it's Sacramento instead. 9-game road trip, thousands and thousands of miles, plus the wear on playing in a different time zone and everything that is aligned with that. So you have that. And then to end the season, and then to close the season, the Rays have 6 games, 3 against the Yankees on the road and 3 against the Phillies on the road. Somebody does not want the Rays to be in the playoffs in 2026 based on the design of this downloadable schedule. You're always going to deal with, as the Rays, you're going to have a lot of travel as it is. And when you go to the West Coast, it makes it even more difficult. Same thing for the West Coast teams that have to come to Florida and the East Coast.
Sure.
But those last 6 games in September, that could be the make or break right there, because it's not just, I guess, bell cow organizations, blue blood organizations in the Yankees and Phillies, but on the road, late September, it's essentially a playoff environment, mainly Philly, because Philly sells out every game. And I would imagine that they will be going nuts.
And it's honestly, it's basically the same, right? Yankee fans and Philly fans, they're going to be on you. That bullpen, you're going to hear some bad stuff. In the outfield, you're going to hear some things about your mother that are not accurate, but
exactly.
They're going to say them.
And that's the point too, is not just, hey, you're facing difficult opponents on the road, but can you handle all the hijinks that will be surrounding those games and the crazy fans in New York, in Philly, as a young player, whether you're a rookie or a second-year player? It doesn't matter if you're some guy that they've never heard of or Junior Caminero, you're going to hear it and feel it to some extent. And so these young guys, they got to grow up quick in March and April with the chilly conditions. And then in August and September, with the travel and the road trips and the tough opponents, we'll really see who can handle the bright lights and who's ready for that playoff stage if it comes to that.
That August and September, you're right, it's a gauntlet, man, because that West Coast trip is in the middle of August, dog days definition. Then you come back, and then you come back home, and you're like, oh, okay, we come back home. Then you face 2 divisional rivals, and then you go out again, and then in September, you have basically every team that's in the playoff hunt except for Atlanta. And does anybody believe that Atlanta is going to have a bad season in back-to-back years with that talent? I do not.
Not with Ha-Seong Kim on the roster.
Not with Ha-Seong
Giving you a 5-WAR.
HSK 5.0 F4 2026. Book it. So Atlanta is going to the playoffs. The Mets are going to be in the playoffs. The Texas Rangers are ahead of the Rays currently. The Astros, come on. Boston, yes. Yankees, yes. Phillies, yes. That's September. It's insanity. The only break that you actually have is the Athletics at home, but it's in a long stretch of Houston being bookended by Houston and Boston. So that little breath of fresh air there, it's also your last homestand too. So there's also those emotions and feelings going into it. August and September are definitely not easy. April is not easy, folks. 2026 is going to be a very difficult path to victory.
Real quick on the spot, will the Rays make the playoffs in 2026?
1,000% yes.
Okay.
If I'm not,
there's a greater percent chance of them making the playoffs in 2026 versus 2025.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, they haven't played a single game, and guess what? When
we're all champions on March 28th or whatever.
That's right. And you got everybody coming back healthy. Everybody's gonna hit 40 home runs. It's gonna be great.
Let me also note, just to wrap things up here, you mentioned late August and September, really all of August and September, but even some of those home games and home series in late August and September. So New York Mets at home, Boston at home. You think about the fan bases that those two organizations have. Not to say that, Red Sox and Mets fans are going to take over Tropicana Field, but you're going to feel some of the impact of that to not really make it a true home setting, if you will. I'm just being honest.
And that's the thing. If you want to hear Rays fans talk about we're gonna show up, then that's another show. Yeah. This show, we try to be as realistic as possible, and that's why we had segment number 1 being that the way that it was. Yeah, the Boston Red Sox are going to pull some people, and it could even be a 60-40 split. Unfortunately, that's the reality that we live in, and that's the reality that we've lived in. Unless the Rays are winning, unless the Red Sox are losing, unless the Yankees are losing, that's when you see the shift in balance of them saying, I'm not driving to St. Pete to get murdered by the Rays. I'm not doing that. Right. I'm not doing that. And so let's hope that that's the case for 2026.
Whoever made this schedule, it's on the YouTube channel. Shame on you. Just shame on you. Chat GPT or whomever. Somebody in the New York offices. All right. Hope you all enjoyed. We will have more to discuss on the Rays' recent success and some other storylines as well later on this week and going into next week. And thank you for listening to Locked On Rays podcast. We appreciate it. For your next listen, your second listen, that is, check out the Locked On MLB Game Night show. Every game, every night, all season long. You can find that on the Locked On MLB channel, the YouTube channel that they have, plus wherever you listen to your podcast. Hope you all have a good one, and we will talk to you later.